Hey, today on Woodworking with Wes, we have got a project that we're doing, but before we can do the project, we've got a project we've got to do. It's one of those deals where I can't get there from here, so you have to start off going someplace else first. We're going to build a door. That's a video that we're going to see in the future, but in order to build the door, we have to work off our router table. Now you've seen me work off my router table building doors, but this is a raised panel door, and I want to show you something. This is the router bit that we use for stiles and rails, but this is the panel cutter bit. Look how much different the size is. I don't want to cut a big hole in my existing router table for this bit, so we're going to make another router table just for my panel bit. Now this is just a benchtop router table that I made out of scrap pieces. We're going to make another one. We're going to follow the same design that we've used here. I'm going to tell you the sizes. These are easy to build. Build them out of scrap wood. They're great. They last a long time. Very durable. You just clamp them to your bench. They're very sturdy and they work great. That's wonderful if you have a big factory-made router table that costs a lot of money, but you can build this for $10. So let's build us a router table for my big panel cutter. Let's get started. This is our router table turned upside down so that you can see how I build it and with the support. This is the piece of wood that we're going to use for the top of our new router table. And here are the pieces that we're going to use to make all of the support pieces. First thing we do is start with the legs. The legs are 4 inches wide, 10 inches high, and the depth of our tabletop. Here's our pieces right here. We're going to nail those together. There's a back stretcher. Here's our back stretcher. There's a front stretcher. Let's tip it forward so you can see it. There's a front stretcher. This piece will be our front stretcher. And then on the side, there's a side support piece. On this one, I used 1/4 inch, and I wanted to do a little heavier duty, so here's our side pieces for this one. But let's go through, nail it together, and then I'll show you how we center the router collar itself for our cutter. Our leg pieces we've made out of just some scrap leftover 3/4 inch plywood. Our top is a piece of 5/8 prefinished Baltic birch, and so are our stretchers just out of scrap that I had left over in the shop. That's why I say it's so easy and so inexpensive to build this router table, because literally this is all scrap. So let's get started building our legs, and we're going to nail our legs together with 1.5 inch 18 gauge brads. This is so simple to nail together. I mean, I build these router tables so quick and easy. The nice part about it is if these router tables were ever to wear out, and they take a long time to wear out, but if they were to wear out or get damaged or somehow become unuseful, it's nothing to build a new one. And again, scrap wood. So easy. First leg. There's our 2 legs right there. Next part is to nail in the back stretcher. We nail that on the inside. One thing I'm going to do, and I did on my other router table, is I'm going to notch my back stretcher to go around my little foot. So I'll go over to the table saw, I'll get that cut, and then we'll put that on. This is the notch that we cut on our table saw. This is how it fits around on the leg. We'll nail in here with a staple gun. We're actually using a small crown staple, 1¼ inch small crown staple to go through here. What that does is bring the level of my stretcher up to support the top. This is where the top is going to sit here. So let's nail in our back stretcher just like this. And over on this side too, just like this. Make sure everything's flush, and it is. Okay, there's our back stretcher. Now let's nail on our front stretcher. Our front stretcher fits just like this across the front of our legs and is nailed, just face nailed on this, like that. So let's do that part. Again, 1¼ inch small crown staple. Make sure you got all your pieces lined up flush so that it's nice and straight and level. That's important to keep it like that. There's our level, or there's our frame for our top. Our top will sit like this. You can see how quickly that comes together. Now our side stretchers. We'll nail our side stretchers on there, just like that, on either side. And those will be on. So I'm going to turn it upside down. Put it there like that. Again, 1¼ inch small crown staples, face nailed. I'm also going to give it some nails across the top. And that's what the side stretcher looks like. Same on the other side now. Across the top. Now before we go any further, let's talk about sizes a little bit so that you get an idea of what I cut. My legs are 4 inches wide. Like I say, we're 10 inches high. We're the depth of our board, and our board was 18 inches. So we're 18 inches deep, 10 inches high, and I think we're 23 inches wide total. Let's put a tape measure in there. Nope, 24 3/4 wide. Let's make sure our top is right. Maybe I cut that wrong. Oh no, we're good. 25. I cut it right and I didn't even know it. So there you go. That is what our table will look like all done. So let's get ready to put that together. But the next step, before we go any further, we have to cut a hole to mount our router collar. So let's set this off to the side. Let's bring our other router table back up and take a look. Let's take the router out of here. Now, this is the, I'll show you what we're talking about here. This is the router motor itself. This is the collar. We'll mount the collar permanently to the underneath side of our router table and take the motor in and out as we need to change bits. That's the way I do it when I do my stile and rail sets. We'll do it the same way. We connect the collar to the top by countersinking 3 holes. There are 3 screws that screw into the collar. We'll do the exact same thing. We'll put a center hole, and then I'll show you how we get that hole just the exact right size for the router bit we'll be using. This is the collar to our router. We're getting ready to mount the collar. It has 3 holes, screw holes, where the little screws that are mounting to the table. We've centered our mark in the middle of our board and 2 inches forward. The 2 inches forward allow us to clear the support pieces that we put together for our router table. And we're just going to center our collar and line it up on that mark of center and 2 inches forward. We're going to take our pencil and we're going to mark our screw holes just like that. And there's our marks right there. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to countersink our Now this is a 1/2 inch Forstner bit. We're going to use our 1/2 inch Forstner bit to create a countersink because we don't want the heads of our little screws, these little screws that hold the collar, we don't want that head to be above the tabletop. We want that to be flush or lower so that it doesn't hit our wood as we run our wood through our router table. We're going to countersink only just the thickness of our Forstner head gives us a good indication of how deep to set our countersink. Okay, we've run our countersinks. Now we'll change our drill bit out and put a 1/8 inch drill bit in. Let's get a piece of scrap wood, put underneath our top here so that we don't drill any more holes in my bench than I absolutely need. There's our holes. Now, we'll mount our collar on there and we'll set that on the table. We have our collar mounted on the back side of our top. There's what it looks like from the top. Our holes are countersunk for our screws. We've marked the center of our collar and we're going to drill one more hole here before we attach our top to the top of our stand. We're going to go with a 2-inch Forstner bit and we're just going to drill a 2-inch hole, and that'll give us a place to start for our router bit. Okay, we're ready to mount our top on our stand. To mount our router table top to the top of the router, we line it up flush with the back, center it on the sides, and again anchor it with 1 1/4 small crown staples. And there is our router table ready to go. Let's get set up and put our router bit in. Get ready to go. Okay, now the very last part is to make the hole through our top the right size. We do that by mounting the router bit in our motor, inserting it in our collar, now this part you want to make sure that you're holding on to everything really good, because what we're going to do is let that router bit finish cutting our hole. We've plugged in our router, we've got it in our collar, we're going to hang on good and tight, and I want you to watch the top of the router table as the router bit comes through and cutting the hole to the right size. There we are with our router bit ready to go through the right side. Now there's one last thing I'm going to do that I like to do just for me, just for aesthetics, most of everything, is I like to take a little sanding block just run around here, smooth off the rough edges. Now our router bit has a nice smooth tabletop. We're going to have to build a fence when we get ready to make our door, but we'll get ready to do that when we build our door. I want you to stay tuned, watch that when we build a raised panel door, part of using our brand new router table we just showed you how to build. We'll see you then on Woodworking with Wes.